Hey, this is XCDX. So League of Legends Worlds is coming up. It's the 29th of this month. And I thought I'd make a video about my opinion on champions and what should and should not be played. In this video, I'll be talking about the champions I want to see less of. I don't like many of these characters or champions that I'm going to be talking about. There's a lot more better picks than what I'm going to be talking about right now. And I just want to see way less of these. I picked 10 to keep it short, but I could easily add more. Remember, this is my opinion, and a little bit of facts here and there. Number 1, we have Aurelia. So she's been played so much in the LCS, I get so tilted at seeing it. She's not the best fighter. She has always been, so it's always been in the matchup with Gnar and Aurelia, and it's like sometimes Aurelia wins, sometimes Gnar wins, sometimes Aurelia wins, sometimes Gnar wins. I don't know why, just do not understand why Aurelia is picked. She only has like one stun, and then she just shoots her things, and it's just, I don't understand it. I personally just don't like her as a pick because she's not great for team fights. I understand she can kind of pick off the ADC and stuff like that, but she's not the greatest for an entire team fight. She can kind of die very easily if you build her squishy for I understand Triforce, and then you go, I think, Blade of the Rune King. You might go something else tankier before that, but that's usually the build, and I just personally don't like her like entire kit. She has a decent kit for 1v1s, but when it comes to team fighting, she's not the best at it. I just want more variety in the top lane. At number 2, we have Leah. Oh my god, Leah. So I personally just do not like Leah. She doesn't have the damage in her kit. She has low damage in her kit. She's a utility based mid laner with her ultimate. I've seen it played in the LCS. It's used to get to another lane and stop them from running away and trying to get in on them and like kill them really quickly, but you still need like help. You can't really solo anybody with this character. It's not, and even in team fights, it's kind of lackluster. You put your wall to split off the fight, but even then, people have dashes, flashes, body slams, tunnels. There's so many mobile champions in the game that the wall's not going to stop you every time unless you know that their cooldown is up. It's just a non-reliable champion that I personally think should not be played in the LCS or at Worlds in general. I just personally think there's a lot better mid laners that have mobility and can do a lot of damage, and she's just not the one that has the damage in her kit, and her utility is not the greatest. So number 3, we have Trundle. Trundle support. I would be okay with Trundle top, but Trundle support is a little weird to me. The main thing you use with Trundle support is this pillar, right? You try to stop somebody from disengaging, trying to stop somebody from engaging. That's his main supportive ability is his pillar. His ultimate, you could say, would negate damage and stuff like that too, but overall it's mainly his pillar. And then you have his bite for like relicking, and it's just really bad. There's way better, way better supports to pick than this, and I just don't understand why it's picked. It was mainly overseas played. It's played a little bit in the LCS, but I just do not want to see this pick. It kind of tilts me every time I see it. I'm okay with seeing it sometimes, but it's like it's played a little bit over too much sometimes, and I just don't like the Trundle support. I feel like he's better off to be a top laner. He's made for that Blade of the Rune King Triforce build. So I just don't understand. It's kind of like Aurelion where it's like that, but yep. Number 4, let's talk about another unreliable champion, Bard. He's a very unreliable champion. He's also pretty buggy champion with his portals. His portals are the buggiest thing I've ever seen in League of Legends. But let's not talk about bugs. We're talking about Bard. Bard, I just don't like too much about him. His ultimate is sometimes lackluster. You can go to great ultimate, don't get me wrong. You can get the best. I personally love Afromu and the way he plays his Bard. I think he's the best Bard in the game. You could say Matt from the other team. I forgot the team, but I believe Afromu's a better Bard. But overall, I just don't think his ultimate is like reliable. It can sometimes mess up, and even you can do it on the wrong targets, and it's just not the best thing. And the stun's good, but there's a lot more better stuns you can get. Like Thresh has a lot of other abilities in his kit and then Bard just has a heal pad, a portal, and a stun, and then a Zonia's for almost the entire team if you can fit them in it. It's not much to his kit. The thing you can do with his Bard is move to place with Bard. It's nice for disengaging when you're just finished Baron, just finished Dragon, but you could win that team fight if you have a better support overall. That's all I'm saying, is just he's very squishy. He just doesn't do that much damage. He does decent damage, but late game his damage is just garbage, and even with supportive items he's pretty squishy because he's a ranged support. That's all I gotta say about Bard. So we're getting into the worst ones. At number 5 we have Elise. So you may get a little bit mad at me for not liking Elise, but the reason why I don't like Elise is her scaling is crap. She's just very bad in team fights. She doesn't do much in team fights. She kind of just runs away in team fights, to be honest. But obviously if it's a 1v2, she's with her friend, and then the other person, she'll get the kill. But I'm talking about late game scaling, where in team fights she kind of doesn't do much. She can throw her cocoon out and get one stun for very low seconds, and it's sometimes not even that great. It depends on if you hit the ADC or not. Obviously you would have to play her correctly, but what she's made for is the early game, right? But the early game doesn't win the game always. It can lead you up to win the game, but it's not gonna make you win the game. You can have a really good team that is really bad early game and is fucking great late game and win the game off that because you capitalize on mistakes. I understand in worlds they may not try to make as many mistakes, but you're gonna find a mistake one way or another. People do it. It's in people's nature. And I feel like Elise just is not good for team fights. She's lackluster, like I said, and she's only made for the early game. And I know she's going to be played a lot. And I'm going to be tilted every time I see her played. But she will be played, and I got to get used to that. So, but I personally just don't like her. At number 6, we have Natalie, another jungler. So I just don't like this jungler. It's similar to Elise. Her scaling is bad. She's great in the early game to dominate jungles, to steal your farm. If you want to win that way, that's fine. But it's not. It's a really kind of easy win condition, but it's not the best win condition, because there's times where you have to team fight, and she's not the best team fighter. She has to 1v1 people. She has to have her own fights. She's not the tankiest character where she can be the frontliner for you. She's in the back line, just where your ADC and your mid laner are, and you're gonna have to have at least 2 tanks in the front, which is kind of hard to do that with support and top laner with this fighter meta right now. And I just personally don't think Natalie is a great pick. She's all about that early game. Late game, it is when the team fights start. And that shit, you can fucking win off team fights. I've seen many games when you win off team fights. That's usually how you win. It's not always how you win, because you can have a split push comp 1-3-1, but it's not always your win condition. If you just saying, Natalie's not a great team fighter. Let's bring it to the ADCs. At number 7, we have Azrael. The reason I don't like Azrael, he is a low damage ADC. He's all about the Q. And it's kind of hard to get queuing people to death when there's so many fucking people in team fights that it's hard to win with him. You can play Caitlyn, and she has the you buy the one that splits her bullets and you can win fights. But with Azrael, you have to hit every single fucking Q, hit auto attacks that are garbage as shit, and he's just a low ADC, low damage ADC. And I understand if you're playing a comp where it's you're trying to do the 1-3-1, but it's hard to get to that position when if you're behind, because you're a low damage ADC. And when you're a low damage ADC, you tend not to get too many kills. I'm not saying he has the lowest damage. I'm saying for an ADC, he cannot take on an entire team by himself. Like, I know most ADCs can't do that, but he cannot do enough damage to kill a lot of people in a certain amount of time, is what I'm saying. And a lot more other ADCs can. And Azrael is just not the best ADC, in my opinion. Let's see, another mid laner. At number 8, we have Aurelion Soul. So Aurelion Soul is another one of those new champions that I don't personally like, because there's too much utility in the kit. And when there's too much utility and that's worthless utility, it's garbage. I just personally don't like the pick, because he has the revolving circles with his passive, and he wastes his mana when he turns it on, and it just doesn't do that much damage, and it's kind of hard to kite with it, and it's just overall just not practical to play when you can play other people. And then the stun is, you can make a big stun, but that's dumb. It's a gimmick. And then his ultimate pushes him away, and sometimes that's not great either when you're pushing away the people you can try and kill if you had your team. Just saying, his entire kit doesn't match all of his abilities, and then he can fly over things. I'm just saying his kit should be way different. He should have way more damage in his kit, and I don't think he should have this flying ability. I just don't like his kit. It's just the weirdest kit. There's way better mid laners to pick that have a lot more damage and still decent utility. But his utility is not great. He's just one of those picks that I don't personally think is good. At number 9, we have Jonna. Jonna, I personally don't like because she is lackluster, and I feel like there's better supports. Yes, there's plays you can do with her, like if you haven't seen the play where they're by the dragon pit and they save their lives by like getting them out of a situation, but sometimes it's not working like that, and sometimes Jenna's ultimate can be bad for your team. You push away people, you're about to die, but you might also be getting that kill and then they get away. So it's like a bad champion, and she's mainly for peel and stuff like that, and with her shield, and then kind of slow them, but it doesn't really work out that well. I personally don't like her. It's just my opinion. Another mid laner, at number 10 we have Malzahar. So the reason why I put Malzahar on this list, he does have a lot of damage, but he has a problem with his kit. And he's been played a lot since he has this broken passive. His passive's pretty broken, but that's not the best thing about him. He has a lot of damage in his kit, don't get me wrong, but his ultimate, right? If your team is gold deficient, you can just buy a QSS and QSS is ultimate. And that's kind of bad when you have an ADC that can just QSS it, a mid laner that can QSS it, and a top laner. Those are your main 3 damages right now. Your jungler is not too much of a threat, and your support's not much of a threat. At the moment, we may see some damage in the jungle, and support's usually never a threat. But it's usually 3 threats right now, and if they all 3 get QSSs, then you're just negating that damage that is coming from him, and that can come from others if you have a dash ability or some other ability that gets you out of there, or you have a team comp that's reliable that can save you. But early game, I understand you can't QSS it if you don't buy a QSS early game, but late game, we're talking about late game, because late game happens all the time. You're not going to see under 20-minute games here. It's going to be past 20-minute games, I guarantee. If there's any under 20-minute games, I will be shocked, because it's Worlds. People want to win. So I just believe Malzahar is not a great pick. Just his ultimate, if it can't be QSS, that'd be great, but it's QSSable, so negated damage. That was my opinion on what champions should not be played. If you guys liked the video, make sure to like it. Remember, I say words and such, most of those words. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Click over to the other video if you guys haven't seen that yet. I'll see you guys.